Hey guys, Nick here from Warriors Next Adventure. Sorry, my background's all jacked up. This is kind of a spur of the moment podcast. I had been trying to connect with Andrew Canales here for a little bit. He is starting a program similar to what we're trying to do with the Warriors Ranch. So I figured it would be a great idea to have a podcast about it instead of just, me and him just talking, because I think people need to hear this stuff. I'm big on telling people. Plus, we got some really good news for the Warriors Ranch that I'll be sharing during the podcast. So you want to pay attention to that or go back and listen to it. I just want to say thank you to everybody who supports us as well. And I want to say Warriors Next Adventure has a race team, which is pretty sweet. I figured I would just announce that now. So it's the WNA race team. So what we're going to start doing is using hashtag WNA race team. We're going to be racing in the Hornet divisions. The cars are fairly cheap. The reason why we're doing the Hornets is because of how cheap it is, right? So we got a car and we got a trailer. They wanted $2,700 or $2,750 for it. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. And we got all of the money donated to us. So we got a full race car that's ready to race. We got a couple friends of mine who are veterans. They're going to be doing the vinyls for the side. We also have a surprise veteran who does some phenomenal artwork coming up, and he's going to do the artwork for our hood. I just want to say thank you to Vandella Racing. Thank you for the donation. Donated $1,000 to help us get our car. The Gundick Law Speedway, Josh Johnson, Reed for giving us a great deal on the car. And I cannot wait to start racing, guys. But the big point of this is the race team. We're going to get together. We're going to work on the car in the garage. It's just another way for me to bring veterans together. So I just wanted to announce that real quick. So next we're going to be bringing on Andrew Canales. I probably butchered his name again, right? So I'm going to bring him on right now, and he's going to tell you about some really cool projects that he's working on in the northern Denver area. So here we go. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Please tell me I said your name right.
Yeah, you got it, man. Canales.
Yes. Yeah. I win. That's my win for the day.
Yeah.
All right, dude. So we've been chatting here and there, and you sent me a message like, hey, man, you want to hang out? And I'm like, fuck yeah, because I thought you were in Wisconsin, and you thought I was in Colorado. So I'm like, wait, we might have to reschedule. But, dude, we were sitting here chatting, and I'm like, dude, we got to do a podcast on this because I love your idea. I think it's amazing, and it's along the lines of what I'm trying to do as well. So why don't you tell us who you are, what you did in the service, give us a little background of who Andrew is.
Yeah, brother. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on. And, like you said, we've been trying to connect for a while because when I saw your podcast, I saw that you're trying to do something very similar to what I'm doing. Yeah. And if we can put our brains together and, two minds are better than one. So I'm an Air Force veteran. I got out in 2012. I was in security forces and did 2 tours to Iraq.
I forgot you were security forces too. When were you in?
2006 to 2012.
Oh, really? That was the exact same time I was in.
Yeah.
When did you graduate basic?
Oh gosh. So I graduated in end of October.
Get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
I graduated December. So okay. we were in tech school and basic training.
No, we weren't. I'm sorry. See, it's been a while. My brain doesn't work all the time.
It's all good.
I got to my first base in November and graduated tech in October. Gotcha. I believe I graduated basic in like April, May, something like that. I can't remember.
Okay. You're a couple months ahead of me.
A couple months ahead, but ended up going to Travis Air Force Base and deployed right away. Within a month, I was gone to Iraq. In processed, out processed the same day. And then
dude, we did the same thing happened to us at our base. We had 3 weeks though. So
where did you deploy on your first deployment?
So I went to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in North Carolina, and we were supposed to go to Tikrit. Is it Tikrit? That's how you say it, right?
Tikrit, something like that.
Whatever it is. We're supposed to go there, and then literally 2 days before we were about to go, we got rescheduled for Qatar, and we went to Asalea. It was a horrible deployment, dude. You know how hard it was to be there, and they ran out of mint ice cream like twice. It was horrible. Chili's by the poolside made you get out of the pool to actually go get your food. It was rough.
Oh man, I didn't have it that rough, man. We were in a secret prison in the South Iraqi border.
Buka?
Yeah, we were at Buka,
I
and
was in Buca in '08.
oh, okay. So you know all about Buka.
Mhm.
Not many people know about Buka, but
Yes. Fuck that place, man.
yeah, yeah, we were hit pretty hard within the first month
Oh, really?
of being there, and then it was just riots and riots every week, and um,
What did you do
it,
there? Did you do base security or were you prison guard?
no, we were prison guards.
Oh, dang.
We were there during the big surge in 20
Okay.
or 2007. So
Mhm.
when I was there was about 10,000 detainees, and
Oh,
when I left in October, there was 36,000. So we had a 300% increase in detainees. We had to build new camps, new
mhm.
prisons. So all of those tier 30s,
Yeah.
those were all us that built those. So
Oh, okay. I was ASO in convoys, so I didn't.
okay,
I was outside the whole time, but
gotcha.
luckily I didn't have to go into the prisons at all. Which thank God. I heard so many
Yeah.
horror stories. It was the Master of Arms ended up taking over for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. When we transitioned out that end of that year, a lot of Navy forces replaced us, which was cool.
Oh, nice. Oh, it's good because screw that detail.
Yeah,
No
but
thanks.
I got diagnosed with PTSD right after, and tried to deal with it as much as I could. Deployed again in '09 for the PTT mission, the police transition team, training Iraqi police, and
Was
then
that in Baghdad?
we were all over, man. We started in Mahmadiyah, which was like 3 hours south of Baghdad, and then we ended up living in Baghdad, and we were all over the place, just
I was
different
in
police
Balad
stations.
'09 to 10.
Okay, yeah, man,
So
we were just intersecting and
that's
back and
crazy
forth
the way
with
that
each other.
works. Did you
Yeah,
ever go to Afghanistan?
no, no. Fortunately, I was
Oh, okay.
lucky not to have to do that. I ended up getting out in 2012, right before
Mhm.
uh, those deployments came out. So
Nice.
um,
So 2
yeah,
deployments? 3?
two.
2? Okay.
Yeah.
I went to Afghanistan end of 11 to 12. So I deployed 4
Okay.
times. I volunteered for all my deployments though. I
Yeah, I
hated being
volunteered for
home.
the second one. That was it.
Yeah. I just didn't want to be home, man. It's so much easier being overseas. Just wake up, take a shower, go eat, go to work, don't die, jerk off, take a shower, go to bed, do it again. It's so easy.
Yeah,
Sorry
I
about the jerk off point, guys. Masturbation is very common overseas. Get used to it. This is not a PG podcast, just so you know.
no, that's cool, man. Yeah, it's crazy how when we come, we go and spend all that time overseas, and then when we come back, our family. It doesn't seem like a lot's changed,
Yeah.
but you're so different that everything is different when you get home, and it just keeps doing that every time you go out and come back, and it. I had a rough transition. That's why I got started in all this.
Yeah.
After 2012, I was actually forced out of the military for self-medicating and trying to treat my PTSD.
Yeah. How dare you, you piece of shit.
How dare me?
There's a
um,
lot of veterans who got in trouble because they would smoke weed because
yeah,
that was the best thing for them. I know a couple veterans who got kicked out because they were smoking weed, and it's like,
yeah,
why are you smoking the devil's lettuce? Like, oh, I don't know, it makes me not want to murder people.
yeah, man. It's crazy. Did you hear about what they did in 2017 though to reverse all of those discharges? So
Mm.
I'm totally gonna mess this up. It's like the coup the Kuta memoir. It's a memoir. It's a memo that came out in 2017. It basically states that if you were discharged, I'm totally gonna just generalize this.
That's
If you're
fair.
discharged for self-medicating or for substance-seeking behavior, um, and you receive less than an honorable discharge, you qualify for a discharge upgrade. And
Oh,
so,
I know one person who's gonna love you for that.
yeah, I'll send you the links to
Okay.
the information that I have, and then
Yeah, please
you
do.
can post it below the video for anybody who wants it.
Yeah.
Um,
Keep talking though. I'm actually gonna send. Oh, my phone died. I'm actually gonna send him a message right now and tell him to start listening to this shit.
yeah,
Um,
but so that's what I've been working through. It's a long process, but I'm trying to upgrade my discharge as well.
nice.
Because I've really turned things around. I didn't let that discharge bring me down into a level that isn't where you can come out of.
Yeah. Well,
But
the hard thing is, man, it's like it's so difficult coming back from war because no matter what you do, if you're like base security, if you're like even if you're a FOBIT, um, doing convoys and shit like that, you go to this max extreme, like you're just always on edge. Like you have a lot of
yeah,
people don't understand, like if you get into a, you know, you're driving fast, somebody swerves in front of you, you get that quick, adrenaline surge. People don't understand you have that for 6 fucking months and it's
yeah,
nonstop. And then you get home and you're just expected to fucking be okay when it's like, okay, I just got home from a fucking war zone and I'm here and everybody is like happy and smiling and you're like, why are you fucking so happy? Please stop being happy. And then you start getting mad at other people for being happy, and it's just
yeah,
like nobody can figure out why have you changed. I was like, I don't know, maybe seeing dead bodies everywhere and fucking getting piss thrown at you and rocks with razor blades attached to it, getting shot at, people dying. Yeah, war is not super fun. And
yeah,
then you get home, it's like everything's it's like everything is safe. And because of everything is safe, it causes massive anxiety. It's so
yeah.
strange.
Well, and I think it's part of the problem is all the desensitizing that goes on while we're actually out there living it. People are
Mm-hmm.
home playing Call of Duty. They're every action movie is full of just nonsense explosions that don't really exist, and everybody sees
It's
this
like
this
Michael Bay.
yeah.
That's fucked up.
No, and I think that it's really hard to actually empathize with what we've actually been through, because there's no real way to visualize or even imagine what it could be like, because
Yeah.
no movie can capture it, no documentary can capture it, as good as they are. It's definitely an experience that only we share. So
And I hate when people try to compare to like, oh, what'd you do overseas? I'm like, okay, stop. Yeah,
yeah,
I get like the operators want to like, talk shit about everybody. And it's like, okay, I get that. That's
we're
fine.
all getting hit with rockets and mortars. Like, we're all
Exactly.
part of that. It's not.
We had a finance guy come back who was over in Iraq. He came back and he had severe PTSD. And it was like, you're just a bitch. You're just a finance guy. He had a fucking mortar land 50 feet away from him.
Yeah.
Like that's not really close enough to kill you, but I mean, like if you get some shrapnel, like there's always a chance you can get your head ripped off.
I
You
mean, I
know,
can contest to that firsthand, man. That's where I got my first round of PTSD from.
yeah.
It was a rocket in Buka hit the compound right next to mine during breakfast,
Mhm.
and we spent the whole day just cleaning up and securing the scene. It was
Yeah.
awful.
I think
Um,
people underestimate mortars and rockets,
yeah,
because
a
you
bomb.
should, yeah, you should not feel, you should be scared if that's happening, right?
Yeah,
So in Balad in 2009, 2010, we had a guy who worked up at BDOC, and he actually counted from the day we got there, from the day that we left, 186 times we got fucking rocketed and mortared. And that's just attacks. So there could have been 3 or 4 in each attack or something like that. And
mm-hmm.
so it's like, you're sitting there and you get the klaxon that goes off, that wah, 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 and that only goes off if it's within, I think it's like within 1,000 meters of where you're standing.
Yeah.
And you just sit there, you're like, oh shit.
You just get
And
to
you
a
hear,
HESCO area as quick as you can.
bro, not even that. Like maybe 3 months into it, you just sit there and you're just walking. You're just like, oh shit. Boom. You're like, all right, cool. We're good. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Back to what I was doing. You should not react like that. That should not be a normal reaction. So when you
No.
get home, for some reason you react to fucking everything. When
Yeah.
literally months ago you hear a bomb or explosion go off, and you're just like, meh. It's just like every other day. But then you
Yeah,
get
but then
home.
here it's supposed to be safe,
Woo.
and when you hear it here, it just
Yeah.
all that comes back. People don't understand that PTSD is a physical disease. Like,
Hmm.
it attacks your body physically,
Yeah.
and when people experience what they call being triggered or charged, that's a physical response to
Yeah.
something that's not supposed to be there, or in our minds is bringing back something that wasn't supposed to happen.
Hmm.
And it took a long time for me to figure that out. I don't know about you, but I mean, I refuse to believe that I was one of these guys who had PTSD, you know, because of that stigma of like, oh, you're a bitch, you didn't do anything, you didn't get shot at. Like, I'm like, really? I mean, it took a long time to accept like, my experience. And
I just went to the VA last year. I got out in 2012.
Wow.
So she
So
diagnosed me with PTSD, and she's like, "Why haven't you gotten help?" I'm like, "Oh." I was like, enough people fucking slapped me upside my head and said that I need to take care of myself, and so I just decided to listen, I guess.
it was about 10 years for me too, after my first diagnosis, that I actually started getting help. And it wasn't even because I wanted it. It was because I had to get help. Things started really spiraling in my life, and I ended up homeless. I ended up breaking both of my femurs mountain biking.
Jesus Christ.
And it was like I was so amped up and charged and trying to just get as much adrenaline out as possible with my mountain bike. And I ended up crashing it and broke both femurs at my knees. And yeah. So at that point I was like, all right, I need some help for this, whatever's going on. And started, that's when I first got applied with the VA for benefits. So
what was your path like
for healing? Or just discovering?
Well, I mean, we got time, man, you know. what led you to actually finally understand that you need to get some help?
So, you know, I think it was being in my mom's 1-bedroom apartment with a wheelchair and taking up her whole living room. and you know, just seeing our relationship fall apart because, you know, in that much pain, I was on a lot of narcotics. I was on oxycodone. They had me on Dilaudid and morphine. And I've never felt addiction the way I felt it when I was on those pills. And, you know, for anybody who knows anything about addiction, you know, a lot of other things come up that you're, you know, running away from, as far as traumas and PTSD and suicide. It was the first time in my life I was suicidal. And my mom was like, we need to call the VA. You know, she called the crisis line on me at one point. And it was like one of the best things that's ever happened.
Probably hated her for it at the moment, though, didn't you?
Yeah, no, but I did. I mean, I didn't hate her. I would never hate my mom. My mom's such a beautiful person. She's always given me the best advice and taking care of us, me and my sister.
It's just hard to admit that you need help. And when somebody takes it upon themselves to say that you need help, it's kind of like, what the fuck, man? You don't really hate them, but it's like, dude, stay out of my business. But it's exactly what you need.
You need that closest person in your life telling you that you're in the wrong, man. Like something's going on and you need to get some help. And if it wasn't for that, who knows what, you know, where I'd be right now. But I started going through the therapy, physical and mental, for my legs. And it just seemed like I was going through this process, and starting the process is just unveiling all your shit and your problems.
It's almost like re-traumatization.
It is, and it gets worse before it gets better. I definitely happy to share that because it was a long road. You know, it was to the point where I ended up, you know, a year later trying to do good and falling apart again. Ended up calling the crisis line on myself and checking myself in. And
did you end up going to a hospital for a little while, or a
couple days in a hospital? They were really respectful. They were nice to me.
What was that experience like, if you don't mind talking about it?
Yeah. Having relationship problems and trying to figure out, you know, what is my PTSD and what is this other person. That's really hard when you're in a place of trauma. You know, you end up projecting a lot, you end up denying a lot, you end up putting things on other people, and my relationships were just falling apart all the time.
It almost turns you into a narcissist. That's one thing I realized about myself.
The difference between someone experiencing trauma and having traumatic episodes and what narcissists do, it's a fine line, you know,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to admit that.
Mhm.
It's hard to reach out and apologize to the people that you hurt because of that. And, you
It
know, I
feels
just,
amazing though when you finally realize that and you take it upon yourself to go to those people. Like my little sister and my stepmom, they were more than supportive. But if you asked me then, I had nobody. I had nobody. Nobody was helping me. I had no help when they were right there the whole time, you know. And I was a fucking dick to them. And I've apologized many times, and I probably should apologize even, you know. I apologize a lot for a lot of my mistakes in the past, but it's almost like it wasn't me, you know. It
well,
was this fucking demon that was just controlling me.
and your biggest hope is that they understand that when you apologize, and it's about radical responsibility, brother. That's all.
Mm,
That's what
yep.
you did. That's what I did. Like taking radical responsibility for your life, for your
Yes.
actions, for your choices. It's huge. And then being able to accept the help and you know, take the wisdom from people that have gone through it.
Mhm.
You know, it's an ego crusher, man. It crushes your
Yes.
ego. You
You
have to
need to
be humble.
smash
You
that
have to,
fucking ego.
yeah, yeah, because you know your ego isn't suiting you. If you're, you know, causing problems, your relationships are falling apart, your
Mhm.
life's struggling. I was always broke. That was
Yeah.
another example. You know, people that are experiencing financial hardship are just not making the right choices these days. Like
Yes.
it's possible to make the right choices and be financially stable. and
Yeah.
and you know, I know that a lot of my veteran friends, my brothers and sisters, they've gone through this too.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and then another big part of my journey was, you know, like applying for that service dog that I told you about. You know,
Yeah.
I found Canines for Warriors, and it's a program out in Florida, and they provide service dogs for veterans with PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, and military sexual trauma. And I didn't even know service dogs existed for PTSD. And I signed up, I applied for their program. It took me about a year just to finish the application, not because it took a year on average, but because it was part of that radical responsibility of like, why do I need a dog? What
Yeah.
is wrong with me? How am I at my worst? And explain to the, you know, to these strangers that might give me a service dog, like, hey, this is why I need it. But I got on their list within a couple weeks, and
Nice.
a year later, flew out to Florida, trained with my service dog for 3 weeks, spent all the time with 9 other veterans going through the same thing, had all the same problems, some traumatic brain injuries, most of us PTSD. And man, some of my best friends today came from that program.
Nice.
And I got to actually experience what a high impact nonprofit was for the first time. Like I didn't
Nice.
know there was organizations out there that did this kind of work and made this kind of difference in lives. Like it changed me so much. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you know, to
Isn't
this day, my best friend.
I preach all the time. One trip can change your life,
Yeah.
and that's what
What
I try to provide.
especially when it's with other people going through the same new experience.
Yeah.
There's something about a community healing together, especially
Mhm.
us, because that's what, you know, we get so much camaraderie and brotherhood in the military. And when we get out, that's one of the biggest problems, is that camaraderie just disappears. And
Yeah.
you don't have, you know, especially if you got out like I did, nobody wants anything to do with you because you're risking their careers. You know, you're just a druggie in their eyes, or someone who couldn't handle their shit. And
Yeah.
um, you know, having that again and continuing it after the program with people all over the country, that, you know, we still have a group chat to this day,
Good.
and it's amazing. So,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
keep a group chat from every single trip. So the one from Mount Marcy, and then the one
nice.
from Mount Elbert. And so we chat with each other minimum once a month. I
Yeah.
try to make it more than that, but it's a nice way to just reach out and be like, "Hey, how you guys doing? You guys doing okay?" Which, good God, people, like, fuck the whole 22 push-ups a day thing. I hate that shit. Call 22 veterans.
Yeah.
Fucking talk to 22 veterans. You know,
Or just
stop the
one.
push-ups.
Just one.
Yeah, just reach
Call
out.
one veteran and say, hey, what's up, brother? What's up,
But
sister?
like the whole pay it forward thing, you know, like stop
Mhm.
doing the 22 push-ups. Let's call 22 veterans. You know, if
Yeah.
it takes 22 people to make those 22 calls, fuck it, let's do it. You know, I hate when people nominate me for the 22 push-ups. I don't do them. I did it once, and I'm just like, this is
I did
fucking
it
pointless.
once too.
I was like, this is pointless. I get the sentiment, and I understand it, and I'm not really trying to trash it, but do something that actually works.
Yeah.
Fucking call a veteran, call your friend. It doesn't have to be a veteran. If you have a family member who you know maybe struggles, or you have a friend who maybe struggles that's not a veteran, call them. Just start a conversation. It's difficult sometimes to talk to people who are going through things like we did, and it's really hard, but you have to just bite your fucking tongue, make that phone call, and have those uncomfortable conversations. And that's what Warriors Next Adventure is all about. It's those uncomfortable conversations. Nobody wants to have them, but it's a little easier when you're climbing a mountain. You know, it's easier for me to pull it out.
I feel you, man. A lot comes out when you're using your body and using all your muscles, and especially back to the camaraderie. When you're with a group of people who have been through it, who are going through the same stuff, or it makes all the difference. But it's actually why we're partnering with an organization here in Colorado. It's called Warriors Now, and it's a veteran mentorship program. So for any veterans who want to do more than 22 push-ups a day, or call some veterans, they can become a mentor, and mentor other veterans who are struggling and need that, accountability. They have a buddy check program too that they started when COVID started. So
nice.
That's
what is it called?
It's called Warrior Now. Go to warriornow.org, and that's my buddy Brian who started it, and he's an awesome guy, man, and he's been helping us with a few of our projects. So
nice.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm not paying attention. I'm about to put that website on there. So warriornow.org.
Yeah. Let me make sure it's warrior. Is it plural?
I got it. So what I'll do, guys, is I'm gonna take that website and I'm gonna scroll it on the bottom for you for a few minutes, just so you can have it to look. I could do these cool little banners and stuff.
Nice.
That's the good thing about these. StreamYard is awesome, man. It's so nice. So like I could just do that, and then boom, I got it. Oh, I wanted to scroll it. Nice. See, I'm still getting used to it.
No, that's cool, man. Like, I'm just starting to learn Zoom this year, and the technology is just so advanced now.
Zoom. Dude, StreamYard is awesome. So like if you're ever trying to do like these kind of conversations, man, it's amazing. So I got warriornow.org scrolling on the bottom. So if you guys want to jump into that, I think it's a great idea. There's a lot of these things starting to come out there, and there's all kinds of buddy check programs. And to be honest, man, like I said, the whole 22 push-ups thing, stop that. Just call people. It's so much better.
That's a lot of virtue signaling too, I think.
Yeah. Look, I did some push-ups.
I did some push-ups. Like, I didn't even finish the 22, honestly. I was like, this is kind of silly. Like, it's taking time away from other things. Just me trying to pull out my camera and record myself do push-ups.
I know, right? And again, I get the sentiment. I get it. But there's other ways that are much more effective.
Hey, anybody who's using it to raise money, though, more power to them. And if it's going towards a good cause, I say keep doing it. So
I'm about to start a challenge. It's gonna be called like the 22 phone call challenge. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna call somebody, and every time you call somebody, you'll be like, hey, just made one of my phone calls, boom, and every phone call you make, donate $1 to Warriors Next Adventure, boom, money raiser.
There you go. Well,
actually, next thing you know,
I got a good idea for you. I think it's a good idea. If it's good, it'll work for me, and then we can share it with you. But we found a company that engraves bricks for nonprofits, and they hold open order forms, and they'll help you build out a web page and some brochures. But essentially, for what we're doing, we're raising the money and for our homeless transition program. And we're selling these bricks for $1,000 each, and they'll be custom engraved however you want with whatever graphics you want. And the idea is that we're gonna place them around our flagpole in our memorial area outside of our new building, so that they get a piece of the final product They
Oh,
help
cool.
us they help us, become, they help us fund the building and, become founding patriots of our program. And
Nice.
I think we're going to have some success, man. I haven't even gotten the online fundraiser launched yet, and we've already sold a few bricks, just
That's awesome,
through
dude.
conversation. So I think it's a good idea, and I think it could work for you too.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll chat about that a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
let's move forward a little bit to what made you want to get into what you're about to do now. And then we also have to explain what you're doing now. So,
Yeah. So I think I kind of explained it, man. Just me experiencing homelessness, me experiencing, not being able to use my legs for months and months. Um, when I was at the VA, people thought I got blown up. Like I'm there with bandages on my legs, and they're stretched out on these wheelchairs, and I was like, no, sorry, I didn't. That didn't happen to me. I actually crashed my mountain bike, and but I saw a lot of people who were severely injured from combat.
mhm.
Um, I was at I want to say Loma Linda VA in Southern California to do my surgeries, and they had a trauma unit that they had a lot of veterans going in and out of there. So I got to talk to a lot of guys, and going through the service dog program, I realized, like, I want to make an impact like these guys made an impact on my life.
Mhm.
So how do I do that? What's the biggest problem with for veterans right now getting out of the military? And it's this homeless problem, to
Yeah.
figuring out that 40% of the 22 suicides a day are experiencing homelessness. That's like, okay, well, we can help a big chunk of those and maybe reduce that suicide number.
Mhm.
And get people more qualified to go through the service dog program. And so housing was, my big answer to this. And how can I provide housing? Well, I got to start a nonprofit so we can get some houses donated. But it was actually harder than I thought. I didn't think, I thought people would just, give up some vacant houses and we can start putting veterans in there. But I realized that it wasn't
Yeah, it doesn't work
wasn't that
like that.
easy. Yeah. So I started reaching out to other nonprofits, and I found one really successful nonprofit. It's called Passageways Ltd. in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
And for the last 6 years, they've been helping veterans transition out of homelessness with a 100% success rate. Not a single veteran
Nice.
reverting back to homelessness. And I think they're up to like 90 veterans now. So I got a hold of Susan, the CEO of Passageways, and I was like, hey, can you share your program with me? I want to build a program off of what you guys are already doing.
Mhm.
And she was so happy and excited to help and be involved. They shared their whole program and all their documents with me. And we were able to build out a really, I think, really professional and functioning program that I think is going to have a lot of success. And so that leads us to, where we're at today with the fundraiser, trying to buy this property. And the property we found is a 86,000 square foot middle school in Idaho Springs, just 25 minutes
Wow.
outside of Denver.
That's
And
amazing, man.
yeah, it's huge. It's got a football field that we can put some greenhouses in, uh, chicken coops, and sell vegetables and eggs to the local market, host
Yeah,
farmers
dude,
markets.
we really are like just on the same fucking path, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a slightly different mission, but it's almost the same pathway. I love it.
yeah, yeah. So we have that light commitment with Homemade Colorado. To partner with us and help us with 50% of the remodel to convert it into housing for up to 50 veterans.
Nice.
It's a middle school, so it has a gymnasium, it has a
Awesome.
cafeteria, it's got tons of classrooms we can turn into bedrooms. And man, it's really coming together too. We partnered with a greenhouse company. We're still working out the details, but essentially we're going to manufacture the greenhouses in our facility for this company. In return, we get to provide work experience and life skills training to the veterans going through the program. They can either choose that work program, or they can choose the agricultural program on the football field, or we want to put in a wood shop too, so we can,
Nice.
teach them woodworking skills and custom furniture, stuff like that. So Warrior Now, we got Brian wanting to run the mentorship program for all the veterans in our facility, and just make it all encompassing for life skills and training, getting them to show up on time, having a routine again. A lot of veterans need that routine to survive once they become civilians again, and that's just giving them a chance, giving the guys that want to get off the street, because there are some guys that just don't want to get off the street, and that's fine. Let let them live their lives how they want. But the ones that fell into hard times, the one that didn't get his benefits in time and lost his job, or couldn't find a job, or that PTSD is just ruining any chance of a job, and he's not getting help, that's where they can come in, get on their feet, have a place to be with 50 other veterans that are going through the similar process, and really just, bringing them back into society as functioning members and self-sufficient.
That's amazing, man. Are you going to live on property?
No, I won't, but we intend to have a couple house managers to live on site.
Nice.
And as they graduate through the phases of the program, they'll get more privileges, and they'll be able to start working in our work programs. And the most important part is really just getting them to commit to making the change. Because with me and the veterans I know that have success now, we all made that change and took radical responsibility for our lives, and we're just trying to pay that forward to the guys who want it.
That's amazing, dude. Seriously. I absolutely love hearing that, because knowing that you went through very, very similar struggles as I did, though it's so hard to find something, right? So what I've realized is, the main struggles that veterans have after the military is sense of purpose, camaraderie. A lot of it has to do with homelessness, and relationship issues. Those seem to be like the biggest things that we're dealing with.
We checked off all those, didn't we?
Yeah, pretty much. All of them. Yeah, 2 divorces. Woo!
One. So
yeah, we'll skip the whole marriage thing from now on. It happens enough times. You got to understand that, man. Maybe it's you. So
exactly. You can't keep blaming everybody else, man.
Yeah, and substance abuse is another one as well, which we both knocked those off as well.
Yeah.
I got pretty bad into cocaine my first couple of months out. I was a bouncer down in Minneapolis, and it is really accessible. And it was never my plan, and I had always steered away from that because I didn't like what it does to people. But I was a wreck. I hated my life. I hated my jobs. I was a pizza delivery boy, and I was a bouncer on the side. Felt like a fucking loser. And so I was like, I don't even care about life anymore. And it took so much for me to finally pull out of that. Jiu-jitsu actually pulled me out of that whole bullshit. I got a decent job at the state patrol, so obviously I had to, knock off the illegal shit. And so that helped. And then I was still drinking a lot, and jiu-jitsu actually took me out of that. Nice. So that's why jiu-jitsu is so incorporated into Warrior's Next Adventure, because it was the initial thing that pulled me out of alcoholism. And I wanted to be healthier because I would show up to the gym and I'd smell like alcohol, or I just couldn't perform, dude, because I was dying. And it's like, I got to stop drinking. Why am I drinking so goddamn much? I couldn't figure all that shit out. And so finally I started to oh, sorry, guys. I wasn't looking at the comments. I didn't see them all there. We'll catch up to those in a minute. So I wanted to be better. And then I wanted to lose weight. I was about 210, 215 pounds. And I'm 6'1", so you'd think that that's not bad, but it was fat. And I had no muscle on me. So it was literally just a fat fucking doughboy. So I ended up losing a shitload of weight, getting down to about 190, thinking, yeah, I'm in great shape. But no, I could go more. And then I started fighting, got down. I was fighting at 170 pounds, and I was maybe 15% body fat, if not less.
Mm.
And I was doing well, man, and I just kept pushing and pushing, and I started realizing that, man, I got a lot of work to do. And you know, it's very well known. So I mean, this isn't like a shocker, but after my suicide attempt in 2015, that was my big wake up call. Um, Everybody kind of has that moment where they have that wake up. It sounds like your accident where you couldn't use your legs was kind of your moment, and your mom pushing you to hey, get some help, fucker. Mine was
Yeah.
mine was all I had people helping me on the side, but a lot of mine were self realizations. And 2016, I started getting into Buddhism, and a lot of that has to do with going inside. And so my focus was always, get inside my own head, get inside my heart, and figure out like what the fuck is wrong with me? Why am I feeling these feelings, and what's going on? And like we were talking about earlier, extreme ownership, like kind of like Jocko says, you have to own your shit.
Yeah.
One of the speeches I give is own your shit, right? And you have to own everything. You have to own your successes and your failures. But when you start to realize that, in life, you can't control what happens to you, but you can always control your reaction.
Yeah.
And you are the one that's going to decide how how are you going to how are you going to play with the cards that you were dealt. Are you going to turn them in, get new cards? Tony Robbins always says that part of the reason why most people are unhappy is because they're not living their life by the blueprint that they created for themselves. So when
Yeah.
we're younger, we always create this blueprint to who we want to be. I got out of the military. I was doing drugs as a piece of shit, hated my family. I didn't even want to be around my kids. I hated everything. I just wanted to go back to war. I was not living my blueprint, right? I wanted that whole white picket fence, and I wanted, I wanted a good family, and I had all that in the military. And then I get out, I lose almost all of it. Me and my wife are going through a divorce in 2012. We got back together because she got pregnant with my second kid. And then about 3 years later, we got a divorce, which that was the best thing that I ever did. And I think it was literally the day after I tried to kill myself. I called her, or no, it was the day I got back. And I told her, I was like, look, we're done. I got to start over. Again, let me preface, me and her get along great now. We've forgiven each other
Oh,
for all the
good.
shit in the past, but I don't want people thinking that I'm like a hater or anything, but it was real. It happened. Right.
Yeah.
And I just decided that I'm going to create somebody new. I'm going to create the guy I needed back in 2015. So I was like, 5-year plan. This is what's going to happen. That was 5 years ago, and now I'm president of a nonprofit. And all the things that I've chosen to do. People need to understand that when you go inside and you actually get inside yourself and you start to actually process all these traumas, and you process why you may be having PTSD or why you may be having some issues, what's the cause? What's the root, right? Mine
Yeah.
stem back to child abuse. I was abused as a child. My mom got in a really bad accident. She died in my lap. I brought her back. I was a kid, so I just fucking punched her and she came back. She got in a snowmobile accident. She broke like every bone on her right side, and she
Mm.
was pretty jacked up and died a couple times on the operating table that night. And she was in a body cast for like 6 months, and I had to learn how to cook because she literally could not.
Wow.
And I had to, help her wipe her ass, and I missed a bunch of school and shit. I was in 6th grade, and I had to learn how to cook and all that shit. And then after she got out of the body cast, she dropped me off at my dad's house and never came back.
Mm.
So I had, domestic abuse, child abuse, domestic violence, and abandonment issues. I didn't realize any of this until 2018 after my second divorce. Um, I decided like I'm not going to go down that path again. I'm not going to get depressed again. So the whole relationship issue it's a root cause for so many suicides. So many veterans kill themselves because of a relationship. It's like, good God, people, please understand there are so many fish in the sea. Just because one didn't work out doesn't mean
Well, and
they're
the
yeah.
thing is, man, like there you can have all the fish in the sea, but
Hmm.
they're all gonna end the same. All those
Hmm.
relationships are gonna end the same if you don't fix the problem
Yes.
on the foundation level. Um, a lot of people like what I had a similar experience with my divorce too. Just kind of this realization that like, oh man, I don't want to be married right now. I don't. This isn't working. It's a lot of problems, and asking yourself like, what do you want, and then following that up with why do you want it, and
Hmm.
then answering those questions in your mind for yourself. But something that really kind of changed the way I think about just my own choices, and how, what drives me and what programs I'm subscribing to. Uh, I read this book called The Untethered Soul, and the big preface of this book is that, are you the voice in your head, or are you the one that's listening? It's a trippy question, and it really makes you think. But like, we all have this voice in our head, and it part of the book, it describes how you should materialize this voice as you in the room next to you. And how long would you be able to last with this person before you just kick his ass because he won't shut up?
Yeah.
That voice in your head is the worst enemy that you have. And if it's, trying to discover what your real path is, and you mentioned it, as as a child, we all create these lives for ourselves, and we envision what we want our lives to be. But then as an adult, sometimes we just live those out, and we don't really know why we ever thought this was a good thing for us. And I'm probably getting a little off track here, but man,
it happens on this podcast all the time. This is all good conversation though, because when I preach vulnerability, so there's a lot of veterans who could not have this conversation we're having live on Facebook and YouTube.
I couldn't have done this 5 years ago, man. I would have been so
Yeah.
embarrassed of, I was really embarrassed of my actions, my relationships, just the choices I made. I was, like I said, just being broke all the time, bank always overdrawn. It's embarrassing. It's hard to own it.
I wrote an article called 6 Principles to Improve Your State of Mind. And, the 6 principles, I love having conversations about the 6 principles with people, because usually I will say the principle, give a brief description, and then we talk for 20 minutes about that one principle and then go right back. All right, the second principle. So I'll go through them real quick. One of them is look at who you have around you. Look at what you have, but that's not just monetarily. It's right here and right here as well. What skills do you have? What attributes do you have? How can you provide? Because providing value is one of the best ways to pull yourself out of any depression. Because if you're providing something that people are taking in, like this podcast it's therapy for me, because I love having these conversations. I've become addicted to conversation, and it helps me grow as well, because hearing you speak and hearing our similarities helps me in the future be able to help other veterans. So it's a wild connection there. The third principle is there anything you can do about your situation right now? And that has to do with anxiety. The anxiety issue is one of the biggest things that we have. So we had all these things we need to take care of. And like right now, sitting there in that chair right now, if your car broke down, could you do anything about it right now? No.
Nope.
So you got to let it go. You have to accept the fact that you can't do it right now. And you just need to prioritize. And that's where organizational skills come in, and time management. You go down, you prioritize all these things you have to do. You say, okay, what can I literally go do right now? I'm thirsty. I got a cup of water right here. I can go get some water, shit like that, and then you just start checking off the list, and you understand that you have to just break it down. And then if you can't take care of something, just breathe. Understand that time sometimes is the only way you can fix something. Yeah. The next one is the most important thing, is accepting your past. And that's where I have this theory where we live 4 lives, 4 life cycles. You got 0 to 25, 25, 50, 50, 75, 75 to whenever you die. Most veterans like us got out when we were about at the end of our first life, about 24, 25. So what you're doing is you're starting your second life looking back at your old one. So you're walking backwards. So what happens when you walk backwards and you're not looking where you're going?
Oh, you fall, man.
You fall.
Yeah.
And so what you need to do is you need to look back at that. You need to stop. Exactly. What I say is you need to stop where you're at, and you need to get inside yourself, right? And if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, whatever, it doesn't matter what religion you are. You can go inside yourself. And that's why a lot of people, I don't get why people are turned off to Buddhism, because it's not a religion. It's just a way of processing information. Yes, it's a mindset. And when you really think about it, it's a way of breaking down and a way of reacting. That's it. You know, anybody can look into Buddhism and it will expand their faith. If they're a Christian, look into Buddhism, look into meditation, look at what it can do for you, and it will expand your faith. I promise you that. There's a couple of Christians I got meditating and talking about Buddhism. I'm not trying to convert anybody. That's the last thing I want to do, but I do want to help people find themselves. Because if you're always looking up and you're never looking inside, how are you going to know who you are? So you need to accept the past. And the only way to do that is to look inside yourself and really discover who you are and who you want to be, right? And when you actually accept the fact that those things in your past happened and it sucks, you know, we lost people, we did terrible things, but when you accept the fact that that's not me anymore and you actually turn around, it leads you to the next principle is look forward to a positive future. And that's where you take yourself and you create your hero. But you know, like I like to ask people, who's your hero?
Oh, me. Oh, man, I might get a lot of shit for this, but I'd say one of my heroes is definitely my mom. Gotta throw that out there because she's
nothing wrong with that.
She's gone through so much, man. But
let me ask you something though. Why isn't it you?
I was gonna say no. That's a good point because I haven't. I guess I don't feel like I've achieved the title of hero yet.
So here's
because I'm still working on myself.
So here's the next step, right?
Yeah.
Look forward to a positive future. What that means is 2015, I went from suicidal, getting ready to kill myself, tried to kill myself, and it didn't fucking work. Good thing I suck at that. I created the hero that I needed. I created the person that I wanted to be there for me. And now I literally, like, I get to do that every day, right?
Yeah.
So I still get emotional talking about that shit because it's just, I'm proud of myself. And there's nothing wrong with pride. And I think people need to understand you can have pride in yourself, especially if you pulled yourself out of a fucking hole, you know, like we both did, you know, so you create yourself as your own hero.
I'll be
you
proud.
Can be your own
I'll be proud. I'll be a proud hero when I secure this building, man. That's, you know, I'm hard on myself. If things don't, I like things to happen right away. You know, I don't like to waste a lot of time. And I'm like, look, if you want to help. If not, get out of my way, because this is happening. And
that's why I always say live as if the future is today.
Right. Well, that's just being radically present. I have a few radicals like your principles, you know, radical responsibility, radical presence, which means, you know, we've talked about the responsibility part, but being present in your life, being in the now, in today, not focused on what you want to happen in the future, but focused on what you can achieve today towards those goals in the future. Not constantly saying, oh, this is going to happen later, but doing things now to make that happen later, to make that reality in the future. And
go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to add that, you know, and anytime you're stuck in the past, anytime you're looking at the past or you want to rewrite the past, you end up lying a lot to yourself. You end up, you know, with the radical responsibility, radical presence, the lies go away. You can't lie if you're in those radical states. And it's, you know, just being in full integrity with yourself. You know, I used to lie a lot. When I got out of the military, I didn't tell my mom I got kicked out. I didn't tell her I was forced out for drugs, for smoking weed. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. She didn't find out for about a year.
And you live in a state off away walking down the street and shit.
Right. It's a whole new world, man. But yeah. You know, still, it's, you know, there was a lot of shame there, you know, shaming myself and feeling that embarrassment. And just like you said, accepting that past and accepting who you are, what you've done, and then making those different decisions the next day and focusing on today. That's how we change the world, man. If everybody just took responsibility for their own lives, didn't blame the president, didn't blame anybody, didn't blame, you know, Republicans or Democrats or whatever, like, we wouldn't be fighting as a country right now. We wouldn't have so much chaos if everybody just took responsibility for themselves. And so, Yeah, man, I'm with you. I love that we connected and that we have such similar stories and
For sure.
goals and I definitely like having that mutual inspiration and
Absolutely,
accountability.
dude. And I'll do whatever I can to help you. But
Yeah,
let's not
thank
forget
you.
the sixth principle is the
Moving
most
forward,
important.
looking
The
forward to a good future.
well, looking forward to a positive future. That's the fifth principle. So
Oh, what's this? Oh, we're on 5. Okay, well, one more. Sorry.
reason why the sixth principle it's the most important, but the reason why it's at the end is because it's the most forgotten. Is you need to love yourself. You need to
Oh
understand
yeah,
that it's okay to love yourself. Self-care is the most important thing. I do everything. I I self-care is the most important thing. It's number one. I am number one. You know, my mental health, number one. But the good thing is I created something. I created Warriors Next Adventure. My best mental health is helping other people. I
yes,
started realizing I read what my love language was. So if anybody hasn't read the five love languages, go buy that book and read it because it will
yeah,
help you in every single relationship in your life. Family, friends, intimate, everything.
yeah.
And I started realizing, what makes me feel good, and there's some sort of like selfish giving, right? And it's where like you do something. I don't normally tell people what I do. When I help a veteran, I don't tell people what we talked about because it's none of their business. I
Mhm.
have the self satisfaction in knowing that maybe I said something, maybe I planted a seed that might actually sprout someday. Maybe he's not ready for it right now, but that seed is there. And eventually it's going to come back and he's going to have an aha moment and that seed is going to sprout. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm in the business of doing. I'm in the business of planting seeds. I'm a gardener. I want to teach veterans to understand that you yourself, you are the only person who can heal yourself. People like us, what we're trying to do, we're just conduits. All we are is we're facilitating change. We're facilitating veterans to have the ability to look at themselves, look inside themselves, but also look at their fellow brothers and sisters and say, how can I help you? And
I love
eventually
that.
it's going to come back and it's going to help you.
Yeah, well, you
It's
can't love anybody unless you love yourself. And
yes.
any if you don't love yourself and you're claiming to be in love with someone else, you're loving things about them that aren't them.
Yep.
You're not truly in a state of actual love and empathy and integrity,
Hmm.
because that's why all my relationships failed up
Yep.
until my I've been with my current girlfriend for 3 years now, and it's still a little rocky. She was with me when I went through the service dog program, and
Yeah.
we've been on and off, and now we're just best friends who really love each other and live together.
That's awesome.
um, but I just wasn't doing that. I wasn't loving myself, and you know uh, your life tends to fall apart if you're not in good relationship
Hmm.
with yourself, because that's the first relationship that you have to have. And
One of
that
my favorite
goes with all
Buddhist
your
sayings
principles,
is
man.
one of my favorite Buddhist sayings is become one with you.
Yeah,
You have to understand who you are. And it takes, good God, man, it takes a lot of mental stamina to learn who you actually are, especially when you're fucked up in the head, right? To
yeah,
actually dig down and look those demons in the fucking eyes. And I do an intense type of meditation. So I'll share with everybody one of my meditation methods. It's a little dark. And some people have been like, "Whoa, that's fucking depressing." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, look where it's led me." One of the things, like if I feel like I'm not in control, if I feel like I'm not the one leading myself, I need to figure out what's going on. And so I believe that an intense meditation actually really helps. So what I do is I'll sit either under a waterfall. There's a waterfall here in Minnesota that I sit at, or I'll sit in my shower. But I'll make sure it's nighttime. All the lights are off. I put a towel under the door, so there's literally pitch black. I can't see a goddamn thing. I turn the water on hot, and I'll sit down and I'll let the water hit my back. And most people who meditate know like the body check, right? Get comfortable. You don't have to sit like just get comfortable, right? I usually lean
back
forward
to
and I just get comfy. And so the water hits you in the back, and what you're doing is you're using that. So I like to have some kind of distraction, because if you can get into a deep trance of meditation with a distraction, Imagine what you can do without the distraction. So I use these distractions like water and everything like that to gain the control, um, without trying, without trying to control, without trying to be there, right? So you're not trying to think of anything. You're not trying to not think of anything. You're just be, is what I say. So
Mhm.
when you get to the point you do the body check and you start to really, really start to just let your mind wander. What usually ends up happening is when you sit in a dark room, your eyes start to play tricks on you. Your eyes are closed, right? So once you get to that point where you feel you are in a deep, deep trance, you open up your eyes. And every time I do this, when you break it down, like when you analyze it, it's probably like the little microbes in your eyeballs and shit like that. But like metaphorically, you see things moving around and you could take those in and make them think. Like there's been a couple times where I've done this kind of meditation where I've actually gotten a little nervous. Like it was way too intense. And I have a mantra. This is my mantra. Whenever I get to that point where I start to see things starting to move, I look at them and I whisper, "You don't control me, I control me." And then I just look at them, "You don't control me, I control me." And to make things even better, I listen to this like badass old school Viking chant. So I'll send you the link. It's pretty cool. It's like
Yeah.
20 minutes long, and
All
then
right.
right at the end, it's like all old, like ancient Viking music. It's beautiful. Um, but right at the end, there's like a Viking horn, like from a ship off in the distance, and that's right at about 21 minutes, and it wakes me up. It brings me out every time, because a lot of
Cool.
times when you meditate, you have to have something to bring you out, and a lot of people have like a crashing wave or jumping into water or something like that. Mine is the horn.
Yeah, the gong time. I got the gong timer on my phone, and
Nice.
we do. For anybody who doesn't want to get that intense into it, because I know, like, I know how this can
That's
sound.
only for when I'm really troubled. My regular meditation is a lot more calm.
Yeah, okay. Because like I've tried some intense meditations before and different experiences. We went down. I'm not going to tell you where, but I've done ayahuasca medicine in with a shaman in ceremony before, and um,
I
you
just
know, I've
recently got a hookup as well.
oh, very cool. Yeah, it's a beautiful experience, man. It's very hard. It's not something you look forward to,
Yeah,
but
maybe we'll talk offline about that.
yeah. But just focusing on your breathing. That's the key for me. Is just getting into a quiet place. Setting your timer for at least 45 minutes and just putting everything off and turning your phone on silent except for the alarm. And anytime I get out of focus or out of meditation, I say, you just concentrate on that breathing, and it brings you right back
Mm.
within a few seconds. So my girlfriend's really into Kundalini meditations, and she
Mine
has,
is too.
she yeah, of course.
It's
Um,
like it's kind of like a almost like empowering for females too. Like from what it's been explained to me is the reason why a lot of females end up doing that is because it's like a womanly essence and empowering for women, but men do it too.
well, because they can resonate with the pitches and the tones of the chants and the meditation songs that they sing.
Hmm.
And I mean, I've tried to do it with her a few times, and it's not my, I'm not that committed to it like she is. But I mean, every day since I've known her, she has not missed a single meditation every single morning for at least the first hour of the day. And she kills it, man. She charges and,
That's
and
awesome.
runs her business, and she owns a cleaning business. So, um, I've learned a lot from her, and I think every male veteran just needs a good female in their lives or a good woman to bring in that energy and that love and compassion. So
Yeah,
I feel very blessed to have her in my life. So
nice. I challenge every veteran to go back and look at your past relationships and see where they all went wrong, but come at it at a point where you're looking at what you did wrong.
yes,
It's not always going to be your fault, but look at what you did wrong and see, what did they do wrong and why did it not mesh? And go back and look at that stuff and analyze it, right? So
yeah,
I think the best way for a lot of veterans to heal is analyze everything, but understand you have to turn that off. If you get over analytical, you'll just have fucking massive anxiety. But if you want to heal, you have to get inside yourself, and you actually have to learn. You have to learn that you're not always going to have all the answers as well. So that's where programs like ours come in. Owning your shit and taking responsibility for everything is taking care of yourself and taking charge of your mental health. Sometimes you need guidance, and there is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And I make sure to let veterans know, like, look, if you don't feel like you have PTSD, if you don't feel depressed, still come to my events, because we need examples as well.
Yeah.
And I have many veterans who I consider a good example of a good person, a person who's actually happy. And they come to our events, and I love when they come around, because there's always great conversation that comes around with some of the guys who may need a little help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. And that's the first step that everybody needs to realize, is it's okay to ask for help.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, dude, we just hit an hour, this like impromptu podcast. I think it was great. We should definitely do this again soon.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Warriors Next Adventures got going on as well. So
yeah, you
usually
guys have a new team, dude. Congratulations, man. That's so cool.
The race team. I can't believe that actually happened, bro. 72 hours. I made that happen.
That's so cool.
I shouldn't say I made that happen. That's selfish. I pushed the ball, and the ball was rolling, and people were donating left and right. We got a car for $2,000. We got that money donated in 72 hours. We got a trailer, and I reached out to a guy. He was selling it on Facebook. Told him what we were doing, told him what it was for. And I'm like, is there any way you could donate this trailer? If not, I get if you can't, is there any way you can give us a discount? And so he dropped it down to $750. And just That's like awesome. That, I was just like, shit, I need that $750. PayPal giving fund. I received another $1,000, which is great. And then awesome. Vandalia race team. I met him on Friday. Megan, who's actually watching, hi Megan, and Donna brought me in, and Sarah. We were sitting there talking, and there was a mental health awareness night up at the Gundick Law Speedway. So they brought me up, and then talking to a veteran. He used to work on his car. He was presenting a trophy that night. Everybody who was presenting a trophy, the trophy was dedicated to a family member who had taken themselves or taken their lives through suicide. So his son took his own life back in April. And we got to talking, and he was in the Army as well. And I was like, what if I started a race team? They're like, would you want to come down and work on the car? I was like, he had a car that was his son's too. And I'm like, once we get a garage going, why don't you donate that to the nonprofit? And then that'll be one of our projects. We'll fix up your son's car. You don't have to pay a dime for it. Whenever we're done, we'll donate it back to you, because then he can come in and work on the race team with us. And it was all just an idea on Friday. And so I think it was Sunday, I sent an email, or I sent a message to Gundick Law Speedway Facebook, and he's like, hey, I'm going to put you in contact with somebody. This guy named Josh Johnson called me. He's like, hey, I found a guy who's got a car. He wants $2,000 for it. He told him my story and why I'm trying to do this, so he dropped the price. And I was just like, awesome. So $2,000, shit, I need to make this money. And so I started talking to people who I was in contact with, and Vandalia Racing and Donna and her boyfriend, they reached out and donated $1,000. And then I had all the other money donated. I just randomly got 3 checks in the mail that amounted to $1,100. So it's like, this is supposed to happen, And so the WNA race team is good to go. We might actually race on September 11th.
Oh, very cool, man.
I'm not going to announce it for sure.
I would love let Houses for Warriors throw a sponsorship on there, man. Like,
hell yeah, dude.
I'd love to do that.
You guys have sticker logos?
Yeah, we got some.
Fuck, send it out, man. I'll throw it on there. I'm willing to support things that I truly believe in. I want to get cash sponsors for the car, because I want to use it as a moneymaker for the nonprofit. Any race winnings I win, because I'm going to win and I'm going to be amazing. Probably not. I'm just going to donate to the nonprofit. Yeah, so that's good, man. Yeah, so I'm going to drive for now. My board wants me to just drive just liability and shit like that, because it's I have experience with racing. If we get other vets who do have experience with racing, we'll think about it. But it's like, my board's like, yeah, bro, nobody can drive that car but you for now. We need to figure out liability and insurance and shit.
Yeah.
So, trailer's being dropped off in an hour, and then
That's fun, man.
Friday we're driving up to get the car. It's gonna
That's
be
super
sweet,
fun.
man. Yeah, dude.
Super fun.
And then when I get we got some other great news. I'm just going to announce it because I want it to happen. So if I talk about it, it's going to fucking happen.
Let
So
them hear it.
everybody who knows me and has listened to my podcast knows that I want to start a veterans retreat, right? Long story short, I want to do a campground on the retreat area for like monetary reasons. So we'll start a separate LLC or whatever. But all the money that gets made on there, it's going to be on the same property but separate. All the money made from there is going to, go back into the campground. But I want to donate all of the leftover proceeds to Warriors Next Adventure. So it's going to literally make the ranch self-sustaining. So we can afford the ranch. We can afford the electricity and everything we need. And then if we need to make upgrades or something like that, or if we have a mountain climb that we need to go do and we're low on funds, we can fund that. And eventually I want to start paying for veterans to actually go to these mountain climbs.
Yeah.
We're going to do like a lottery system for now. So like say you want to go on one of our mountain climbs in January, once we announce the climb dates, what we're going to do is do a lottery. So you start a Facebook fundraiser. If you raise $1,000, if you were one of the first 8 people to raise $1,000, you get to go on that trip for free. I'm talking
Nice.
flights, food, everything. And then the 9th person, everybody who raises $200, we're going to do $200 increments. So every $200 is an entry into the lottery. So I'll pick one more person from the lottery, but it's up to you to tell me when you raise the 1,000 because there's a lot of fundraisers I got to pay attention to.
Mhm.
So once we have the 9 people, then what we'll do is we'll buy plane tickets, we'll buy Airbnbs, rental cars, and everything like that. But if I have a sustainable campground, if maybe we don't raise the money or something like that, we can afford to actually fly these guys out there because that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
But we're going to have jiu-jitsu match. We're going to have weights. I have potentially a meeting with one of the founders of one of the biggest fitness gyms in the world.
Oh, cool.
I'm hoping it happens. Again, saying it so it happens. I'm not going to say who it is yet. But it could be pretty big. So I'm trying not to get too excited, but it could possibly fund the whole campground and ranch and everything. So
yeah,
we'll
man.
see.
I would love to. Let's talk offline about that and see what kind of sponsorship package you're putting together. Because I have some pretty cool software that helps kind of create value with sponsorship packages, and that sounds like a good opportunity for naming rights and getting somebody to pay for it. I think it could happen.
That would be great.
I'd love to, man.
Another great thing, real quick. One more Easter egg. I got a possible land donation coming too.
Good.
There's a veteran who heard what we're trying to do, and he's debating on donating a chunk of land to us, which would be fucking amazing. Because then this thing could happen maybe this year.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I'm praying for you, dude. I'm gonna be sending you as many contacts as I can to help.
Hey, vice versa, man. Because I went to Colorado, I have a lot of contacts in Colorado now, and
cool.
There's a couple people I'm gonna get hold of, tell them about you, and I'll send you guys contact info because I think these guys could really help you.
Cool. Thanks, man.
But yeah, so I appreciate you coming on. If you just want to wait for a second, I'm gonna drop you out. Just do my extra real quick, and then we'll chat for a minute offline. All right.
All right, brother. Sounds good.
All right. Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you guys have any questions about what we talked about, if you want to talk about meditation or if you want to talk about any of the difficult stuff, just let me know. You can contact Andrew on Facebook, or you can contact me and I can put you guys in contact. If you want to see more about what he's doing, just go ahead and shoot him a message and he'll give you all the info. I'm really excited for him. I hope he gets this whole thing going because I think it's a great idea. And the best thing we can do for each other is help each other grow. And, we're only as strong as our weakest link. And there's no losing in the veteran nonprofit world. If you ask me, there's no competition. I don't need money. For me, it's veterans first, donations second. Yes, I need money. Yes, I need donations. Eventually, I need to get that. I need to get in a little bit better of a fundraising spirit. But my focus is just making sure veterans are doing okay first. If you guys want to donate to Warriors Next Adventure, we actually have a GoFundMe going right now. Thanks, Toby. I appreciate it. He's one of my squad leaders. Um, we have a fundraiser going on right now called the St. Croix River Paddle for PTSD or Suicide Prevention. That is next week. So next week, me and my partner Will, we're gonna canoe the entire distance of the St. Croix River. It's 155 miles. We're sponsored by Onyx. We're sponsored by AMA Fitness, Train Like a Ranger. We are sponsored by Minnesota Military Exchange, Image 360 Printing, because they did all of our stickers for us and they gave us a great deal on the banner. And then as well as, I'm missing one. Damn it. I knew I was going to. Minnesota Military Exchange. They are a collaborative, a collaboration with every single veteran service, whether it's a business, whether it's a nonprofit in the Minnesota area. So what they're doing is it's a collective impact. So they're getting everybody under one roof. So if you go to mnme.org, or it's a .us, good luck. I can't remember. Those guys are doing amazing things, and they've been super helpful for my nonprofit. So again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for the support. I know the people who know me know where my heart is on this. And I hope you guys can understand where my heart comes from on these podcasts and with all the events I get to do. So you guys are helping me heal. So I appreciate it. We'll talk soon, guys.